Hey everybody, Steve here from Criminallusion.com. So Spencer had a question. He was having problems with particles, and he built like a boat type of a object, and he had particles falling into the boat. If I am reading his message correctly, and he had problems with the particles falling through the boat. They're not actually sitting inside. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up for you and share with you, how I might handle that, and hopefully this helps you in your project. Okay, let me go ahead and put in. I'll build some type of a real simple little boat concept. Let's go over here, grab a cube. Let's go inside and edit the cube. I'm gonna go ahead and resize the cube, make it a little bit longer. And how about if we select the top and delete it? Okay, so the X key and delete your faces. Let's add one slice right down the middle with a Control R and slice it. Double click it to commit the changes. Then from here, let's go ahead and move that out. So I'm gonna grab this edge here, move it on out just like so. Let's go to the point editing view, number 1 key on the keyboard, move that on out like so, making a stupid little boat here. Double click the edge, S key for scale, bring it on out like so. Okay, I think that works. In fact, I think what I like to do is maybe grab these two faces here. So let's grab this face, that face, and let's go ahead and push them apart a little bit like that. Okay, I like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our particle emitter. So let's get out of here, go to our object view, and just to be safe, Command A, rotation and scale is set. Shift A, let's create the emitter, and I'm going to come over to the mesh. Go to the mesh and come over to the circle, and we are basically have edges. It gives us just basically an edge. So I want to fill that in with the face. So go into edit view and hit the F key, and that fills the circle in with a nice little face there. So that, I think this will work for this example. Okay, now we're going to go back to our object view. We're going to give this object, we're going to make this an emitter. Okay, so we can come up here, and that circle we can call emitter or rain, whatever you want to call it. I'll tell you what, we'll call it we won't call it rain, we'll call it ping pong, because I think you were dropping, from what I understand, you were dropping like ping pong balls, like shapes, into the boat, and they were bouncing out too much, and you're also trying to find a way to control the bounce. So I'll address that as well. So there's my emitter, and I'm going to give this, I'm going to automatically turn that to a particle emitter. So right over here, I have, go to my modifiers here, and right below the modifier, which is that little wrench symbol, is your particles. It's like, look at 3 dots coming off of the one single dot from the corner. All you need to do is click the plus symbol, and boom, that's it. You've got your particle emitter. That's it. So hit the space bar on the right here. Your particles are falling out. Okay. Now I want the particles to interact with the boat. So let's go ahead and stop it. So select the boat now, and what I'm going to do next is right down here, or basically right up here in the modifier tab, go to your add to modifier, go to your physics tab, and make that a collision object. Select the collision object, and it's done. It's now it will collide with the ping pongs. Now to edit any of its properties is right down here below the particle emitter, which is the 3 dots here. Right below that looks like a circle orbiting another blue dot there. So if I click it, this is your properties for your collision. So now I'm going to drop it down and look. It's all reacting. Nothing's going through anywhere. Everything is reacting properly. All right, now let's bring this up a little higher. So I'm going to select the particle emitter. Hit the G key on the keyboard and the Z key for the axis we're going to restrict it to. We'll bring it up a little higher. Okay, that works. Look at that. So it's bouncing right back up. Now we need to modify the particles because they're disappearing too quickly. So we can come right over here to the Particles tab, right directly underneath your modifiers tab. And we've got 1,000 here for the number of particles. The seed's going to give you various various amounts of particles. We're going to leave that 0 for now. But the lifetime here is 50 frames, right? So basically each particle is dying after frame 50. So I want the particles to exist all the way through 250 frames, which is my end frame here. So go to the lifetime here, grab this one, go to 250, and now they're all going to start bouncing up. Look at that. They're bouncing back up and down and back up and down. It's a big bounce here. And I'm going to share on how to control that as well. All right, so if I come down a little bit more, we're going to look at some of these options. And let's see, I'm going to come down to go past the cache. We got the physics here, right? We're going to leave the physics default. We're going to leave all that default. Viewport display is worth talking about because that controls the size of the balls there. So if I go to the size right here, right underneath viewport display, you'll see color, you'll see the amount, 100%, you've got the size, and I can make the balls really big, or I can make them a little smaller. Okay, so that works. All right, now we will go to the actual boat because this is where you're going to control how the particles are interacting with the surface of the boat. If I select the boat, we're going to come down next to the collision properties, which is the next tab down underneath your particles. Let's pull this out a little bit so it's easier to see. You're going to see all the text here. All right, now we've got some stickiness, got permeability, we got stickiness, and we've got dampening. Those are the two that's going to control the bounce of your particles. Let's actually just tackle the dampening. So as I add more dampening, we'll go like 0.5 and look, watch what it does. It just dampens it, right? It's not bouncing as much. If we get in close, you can see what's happening here. They're not bouncing that much anymore. Okay, and I can even add a little more dampening to that. How about if we go to something like 0.8? There you go. See, now they're gonna sit kind of in one place. We can even randomize the bounce, the dampening a little bit. All right, so it's a little more unpredictable. We've got we can randomize. Let's see what the randomize does there. Yeah, that helps a little bit more. So they don't all have the same bouncing capability. All right, so dampening. That says take the dampening all the way off and see what happens. All right, so it's going to finish up at 250 frames and then start again. And let's take it off and look at that. And let's take the dampening up higher. And let's see what we get. Yeah, look at how it's reaction. So this is going to really determine how much experimentation that you do here as well. The thickness, the outer thickness, the inner thickness, that thickens up the actual the space that it's reacting with. So if you're having problems with particles going through, come over here to the thickness outer or the thickness inner and see if that helps. We got friction here, and I'm going to bring the friction down so it's a little less friction. It should allow a little more bounce. Okay, and let's come over. Let's come over and let's tilt the boat a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna grab the boat. Let's stop it. Let's tilt it a little bit, like so. Hit the space bar, and now there you go. Now they're starting to move. I'm going to go ahead and move this forward a little bit on the y-axis. So G and Y, and let's move it to something like that. Okay, and let's make the particles larger. So I'm going to go up, target the emitter or the ping pong, and let's give it some more particles. Let's go 2,000 particles. And let's go down here for the viewport, and let's make them a little bigger. There we go. Look at that. That's a little more interesting. So because you turned off its ability to bounce, they're kind of sliding. But if you want to bring that bounce back, select the boat object or your collision object and just modify those collision properties, right? So we got dampen. Let's bring the dampening down a little bit. Now when you start to change things, it stopped interacting. It turns off the physics until it resets it back to frame 0. So that's why you're seeing the ball is falling through it as I make a change. So I go back to the dampening and see what's happening there. So now that's starting to bounce a little bit more. Bring the randomizer down a little bit, or bring it up. There we go. Now some are bouncing and some are not. So hopefully, I'm bringing the inner, up higher. Let's see if we can turn this to the side and see what's going on. All right, it's giving some thickness to this. Even if we go to the outer as well. Let's see what it does. And like a little force field to it, so to speak. Okay, so hopefully, hopefully that helped you with your question. And you said you have having a lot of problems getting the particles to react very accurately with the boat that you built. And I'm assuming you're building rain or something, and the rain's going to settle inside the boat somehow, or snow or whatever. Yeah, so just make sure that you apply a collision to the thing that your particles are going to hit, and then come down here and play around with it with the collision a little bit. Okay, all right. So hopefully that was helpful, and just chat on the shout out on the Discord for anybody who have any questions, and every once in a while I'll do these little videos for you. All right, Steve Burns from Criminalocean.com signing off.